What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the 11.15 edition of the new OP Korean builds. Today, we've got a bunch of unique setups to share with you all, ranging from Airy on Lucian to Tank Cassiopeia. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video, or click the link in the description for a special discount. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Shield Bow Aurelia has been quite the staple over the past few months, but Korean top laners have been shifting focus to Gore Drinker and seeing amazing results. The Aurelia mini rework provides her with stronger teamfight presence, as the damage reduction on W is really insane. This W buff combined with building Gore Drinker allows Aurelia to soak way more damage in fights and be such a nuisance in the back line. You'll transition into Asterix as your third item, and it becomes so difficult for the enemy to take you down. Full build is Blade of the Ruined King Rush into Gore Drinker second and Sterix third. This build will suit you best in games where the enemy comp lacks heavy CC, and you'll be able to function in team fights. If your plan is the split push though, then building the standard shield bow remains the correct play. Your rune page is Conqueror followed by Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Pick up Resolve secondary, opting for Bone Plating and Unflinching. The Kench has most certainly been unbenched up in the top lane, so let's get you up to speed with the best new setup. Since Tom scales very well with bonus health, and Anathema's Chain's Rush is becoming more and more popular in Korea. Riot changed Tom's passive last patch so that it scales with bonus health instead of max health, so buying a 650 health item in Anathema's provides great value. Tom E and W also scale off your health, so you can see why Anathema's is so powerful. At only 2,500 gold, you'll have the item purchased way earlier than when the enemy laner grabs their first core item, which is huge. You designate the enemy laner as your nemesis and begin stomping them in the 1v1, as you'll take 30% less damage. Reducing the enemy's tenacity by 20% helps Tom stick onto his targets so much better and gives them even less chance of escaping once tagged by your Q slow. All in all, everything the item has to offer complements Tom's kit extremely well, so don't sleep on Anathemas in 11.15. Complete core build consists of a Frostfire Gauntlet second and Thornmail or Spirit Visage third. Your rune page will be Grasp with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Unflinching, followed by Triumph and Alacrity for secondaries. A build we just recently featured on Viego has started popping up a lot more on Kindred as well, which is a Divine Sunderer into Wit's End. Korean pro Yosik has been spamming this setup in solo queue and seeing insane results. You're receiving a ton of on-hit damage from the Divine Spellblade proc and Wit's End passive. The durability is disgustingly strong due to the health and healing from Divine coupled with the magic resist from Wits. Unlike the standard squishy crit build, you're able to play much more aggressively and not have to worry about being blown up right away. Wit's End is also just crazy efficient. The most common second purchase on Kindred is the Collector, which has a gold efficiency of 92% from base stats. The base stats from Wit's End are 106% efficient, and when you factor in the move speed and on-hit damage from passive, it jumps to 126%. If the enemy composition has a couple AP threats, then Wits is the no-brainer second purchase that so many players are missing out on. After rushing Divine Sunderer and grabbing Wit's End second, you'll round the core build out with a Hurricane. The rune page is Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Roll with Sudden Impact and Ravenous Hunter for secondaries. A new build for Rammus that's giving him a serious boost in power is a Thornmail Rush. Over the past couple of months, we've seen heavy deviation away from rushing mythic items on a bunch of different champions. If you're going to get more value out of rushing a legendary, then it just makes sense to delay that mythic until later on. For Rammus in specific, he loves Thornmail more than any other champion, as the Thorn's passive combined with Rammus' W passive eats away at the enemy's health bar. With auto-attack reliant junglers in meta like Xin Zhao and Nocturne, the Thornmail Rush can do wonders to shut those picks down. A sample core build is Thornmail into Turbo Chemtank second and Abyssal Mask third. Take Aftershock as the keystone with Font of Life, Conditioning, and Unflinching. Triumph and Alacrity are the most optimal secondaries. Summon Airy on Lucian is a super unique rune page being played in Korean high elo. KT Rolster mid laner Dove has been spamming the setup on his Lucian in solo queue. There's a few reasons behind it. The first being you have stronger poke power from Q and W early on in lane. You're also able to run mana flow, and combined with biscuits and secondaries helps alleviate those mana issues. It's all about the upfront bursts, so Absolute Focus has great value too. The overall power of the sorcery tree just outweighs the precision tree when playing this style of Lucian. We already covered the new build going around in our recent OP off-meta builds video, which is an Eclipse Rush into Manamune second and Cyrilda's Grudge third. Ultimate damage is completely nuts with this setup, and that's another reason why Aerie synergizes better than Press the Attack. When looking for 100-0 plays with ult, you're not proccing Press the Attack at all, so running Aerie just makes culling hurt even harder. Stats back this rune page up too, as players running Aerie are winning 49% of the time compared to PTA users at 46%. The full rune page is Summon Aerie with Mana Flow, Absolute Focus, and Scorch. Secondary runes are Freeboots and Biscuits. It seems like every single patch as of recent, we've had a new champion popping up with this AP tank build. Cassiopeia is next in line, as she works tremendously well with a Riftmaker rush into Frozen Heart second. The build is all about durability and being able to shut down heavy AD compositions. Cassio already deals a massive amount of consistent damage, so opting for a setup that allows you to soak more damage while you're in the middle of a fight is super nice. After all, Cassio is a shorter ranged mage, so unless you're Faker, in order for you to deal damage, you'll almost always be in range of the enemy's damage too. In games where the enemy comp consists of a few big AD threats, then choosing this tank setup can completely nullify their damage output. Third item to round out your core build will be Archangel, so you still need that mana in order to spam abilities. Conqueror as the keystone will add to your sustain, followed by Presence of Mind, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Pick up Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter for secondaries. Kog'Maw no longer stands alone as the #1 Wits End abuser, as Koreans are absolutely loving the rush on Ashe for 11.15. On-hit Ashe is what we're looking at, as the full build consists of Kraken Slayer second and Rageblade third. If you want more survivability, then swapping Kraken for Shield Bow is completely viable as well. As the patches progress, it's just becoming more and more apparent how broken Wits End is. The stats Wits End provides for such a cheap value has turned it into a must-buy item on so many champions. If you couple the Wits up with Shield Bow second, then it becomes so difficult for AP assassins to function. Especially as an immobile ADC like Ashe, being able to purchase all that survivability and still deal very respectable DPS is what makes the build so powerful. It's not just the builds that's unique though, as Koreans have shied away from lethal tempo and are spamming Hail of Blades as the keystone. Plain and simple, you've just got more upfront burst, which is super useful in so many scenarios when finding picks to burst the enemy out faster. The second ADC build we have to share with you guys is one popping off on Draven. Over the past two patches, Korean high elo Dravens have left the Shield Bow build behind and are dominating with an Eclipse Rush. It's full-on lethality Draven for that matter, as you transition into the Collector second and Serpent's Fang third. The raw burst and one-shot power from the setup makes it so satisfying to play. Build is significantly cheaper than your traditional crit setup, so you come online sooner for a massive mid-game spike. You shouldn't just autopilot the build every game though, as lethality is way more cost efficient when against squishies. If you're versus a very tanky enemy comp, then building crit would still be the better choice. Instead of running Hail of Blades, Dark Harvest is what the Koreans are liking for maximum one-shot power. Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ravenous Hunter complete the primary runes. For secondaries, grab Presence of Mind and Alacrity. Anathema's Chains is becoming quite the staple on many tanky supports in 11.15, and one who's really flying under the radar is Shen. Shen synergizes better than most supports with Anathemas because he makes great use out of all of the health the item provides. Earlier in the season, Shen Ultimate saw a buff to where the shield now scales with 17.5% of its bonus health. Since you receive 650 bonus health from Anathemas, you can see why the build works insanely well. Your ultimate shield on top of the shield from Locket Active offers up an immense amount of survivability for one of your carries. Shen is a really great pick in general against meta supports like Leona and Thresh. W does an amazing job at shutting down Leona because she can't activate her Q stun while inside. The full build is Anathema's Chains into Locket second and Wardstone third. Rune Page is Aftershock paired up with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Overgrowth. Run with Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter for secondaries. And one more support that pros are abusing Anathemas on that you need to be too is Thresh. Instead of rushing the item like Shen though, you'll pick it up second after completing Locket or Shurelya's. Thresh doesn't have any crazy health scaling in his kit to synergize as well with Anathemas as Shen does, but the active is where you'll find its worth. Reducing the enemy's tenacity by 20% is amazing for Thresh, as he has 3 CC abilities that can utilize this. Shutting down 30% of the enemy carry's damage can be so impactful throughout the game as well. Flying into a fight, proccing Aftershock to provide you with all the resists, and then having the reduced damage from Anathemas will make it so difficult to take you down. A sample full build is a Locket Rush into Anathema's Chain second, followed up with a Watchful Wardstone third. Standard stuff in regards to runes, as you'll grab Aftershock with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. Secondaries are Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we are able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 629 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you're serious about improving. Alright guys, that's going to be all the new builds we have for you today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you back soon.